What is going on, Dino Duelists? It is the Mike Man with Jurrac Gmx Dinosaur, and I did pretty okay today. I mean, I won. I got top 4 in the giant card. I got this Avulsar Logia. Now, I actually won the oversized Shadal construct because the Avulsar Logia is only for Genesys. But I traded construct for Logia, and I got it. I got an oversized Logia, so it's gonna look pretty sick in my background. Anyway, let's talk about the deck. So it's Jurrac Gmx Dinosaur like usual, but the deck had gotten a huge buff since Chaos Origins. So we're gonna go over each engine. We're gonna start off with the Jurrac engine. Of course, we're on 3 Stego, an incredible starter. This card is so broken. It literally says Foolish Burial and Soul Charge from deck. Locks you into dinosaurs, but that doesn't even matter. The only thing that you can't go into after this is Dolka, but other than that, like, everything you summon is a dinosaur, except Dolka and Salandia. We're on 3 Megalo. This card is Magician Souls. This is incredible because any Jurrac bricks, which we're on 4 Jurrac bricks, it sounds bad, right? But the benefit is, these are very easy to convert into actual card advantage, because if you see, this says discard 2 cards including a Jurrac and draw 2, which means you just pitch these and then draw 2 cards. The combo is, if you see any of them, this basically converts to a draw 2, because in your combo you're going to search return down a Deneen, and then you need that in the graveyard anyway, but Ovi can search it, add it to hand, discard this and Deneen, draw 2. So basically these can be generated into a +1. So these aren't even bad to see, as long as your other cards can get you your combo, which there is a lot of starters in this deck, so that's actually no problem. I think like all day between the main event and the giant card and every event I played, I bricked like once. Like, the deck is incredibly consistent. In fact, all my losses in the main event, which I did not make day 2, I didn't do as well as I would have liked in the main Genesis event. That's all was pilot error. The deck was incredible. All my hands were fire. They were incredible. I just made a bunch of misplays. My head wasn't screwed on right that day, but I was able to perform a lot better in day 2 in the giant card event. So the deck was great. It's actually really consistent despite the couple bricks. You can convert these. So yeah. And then also, even if, let's say you see double Jurrac or whatever, double Stego, you could convert that extra Stego. So that's the cool thing about the Jurrac engine. And then we're on 1 Volcano. Now, Volcano is an excellent extender. If your play gets stopped, you can just activate this, pop a dinosaur you control, and then special Stego, and then bridge into your Jurrac combo. So you might be wondering, why am I only, and plus you can also convert it and draw 2 more cards with Megalo, right? So you might be, it's a great card. Why would I only be playing 1? Well, because Sorcerer of the Swamp is just the same thing as Jurrac Volcano, except like on crack, it's way better. So I don't really need to be playing more than 1. So I'm only on 1. So that's the Jurrac engine. And then if you guys are curious about the combo, I go over the full 1-card combo with Sorcerer of the Swamp, which is absolutely insane. It gives you your full end board. And I just discovered a new 2-card combo, OV plus Sorcerer of the Swamp. It basically gives you a Dolka in under 4 summons, while also generating your full Jurrac end board, while also recycling Misk. So next we're going to talk about the GMX engine. The Jurrac and the GMX engines complement each other so nicely. The thing is, the Jurrac engine is a lot of interruption, a lot of ways to actually like just interrupt and break boards and actually do things. The GMX engine is a lot of gas and a lot of follow-up and a lot of consistency, but it doesn't actually have any way to interact with the opponent. Whereas the Jurrac engine, it doesn't have any sort of follow-up. Like, you can make a bunch of nukes, but your follow-up is pretty weak. That's where these engines mix so well nice together. They basically cover each other. The Jurrac engine gives the GMX actually something to do, like actually, play the game and interrupt the opponent, and then the GMX engine actually gives the Jurrac engine follow-up. So we're on 3 Kimmeridge. This is basically just extra copies of the fusion spell GMX Applied Experiment 55, which, as you guys know, you excavate and you burn yourself. We're on 2 copies of GMX Partner Salandia. These are my only GMX names I play. You only need to play 5. This guy's great. I side a 3rd copy for when I go first. And he's just a really good extender. He can help you recycle your Misk. So if someone DD Crows your Misk or Skullmasters your Misk, you can get it back in rotation. Just really solid card. We're on 1 copy of Return Down a Deneen. That's all you need. If you see him, that's fine. You could just pitch it off of Megaload and draw 2 cards. When you get to OV in your combo, just search a Jurrac instead. And yeah, he's pretty good. He searches a GMX. You can also summon it off of Misk. There's a lot of applications with the Return Down a Deneen, and he bridges you into Evolved Deneen. So he's very important in bridging from the Jurrac and the Dinosaur engine into the GMX engine to give you that follow-up you need, so you can go for the kill on turn 3. And then we're on 3 fusion spells. We're on GMX Applied Experiment 55, which we search off of Kimmeridge. We're on 1 GMX 55th Experiment Report, and this is mainly for interruption. We summon GMX Velox on the opponent's turn, and that gives us an extra layering of interruption to our end board. Just one extra pop, but it also gives us the ability to plus when we excavate off of Velox, and then also grants us incredible follow-up when it's in the graveyard, as well as when Evolved Deneen is in the graveyard. This is the real way to kill the opponent. Because then this can search you GMX partner Solandia, and then this can revive Overraptor, and then you can go into, basically you can go to Comprex and go for the kill. And then depending on how much gas you have, you can insulate that OTK with a Dolka. We're on this, and then we're on the 1 poly because we're going to be on the Kadoterra engine and the Sorcerer of the Swamp engine. So this is the best starter in the deck, the best card you want to see. This card basically says special a level 4 dinosaur from your hand. You're already halfway to a Dolka at that point, and then you get Polymerization. Polymerization is great because you can basically go into your GMX Alos by fusing any GMX card. So there's a lot of synergy with Kadoterra with the GMX engine. You're able, and then also in the grind, when you have Kadoterra in play, you're able to recycle this Polymerization and then have another line to get the Comprex. And then also having this on field gets you to Dolka. Just a lot of synergy. If you want more information on Sorcerer of the Swamp, one of my recent videos has the full combo, and it's really broken. And then let me know if you guys want a full combo on OV plus Sorcerer of the Swamp. This is an even more disgusting combo if you open these guys together. Then we're going to go on to the Dinosaur engine. 3 Overraptor, 1 Conductor, 1 Pank, 1 Misk. So in terms of pointed cards, Misk is 67 points, and Pankratops is 5 points. And these guys are also essentially non-engine. And then also in the dinosaur package, we have Dogaran, which is also non-engine as well as a dinosaur card because we can search it off of Overraptor. Conductor is important for multiple reasons. This helps us go for the kill when we're not locked. Because the problem with GMX partner Solandia, it has 2 I don't know what the proper word is, but the opposite of synergy. It has 2 things that does not synergize with the deck, and that is it's a warrior, right? So if you're Dino locked with Stego, you can't summon it. And then also, if you activate the effect to summon from hand, it locks you out of attacking directly for the turn. And except you can only attack directly with GMX monsters, which is exactly why we're on GMX Comprex, because it lets us go for the OTK. So if you don't use this effect, you can use Conductor for the OTK, and there are plenty of lines where you don't have to do this depending on how much gas you have. Then you could just go Conductor Dolka and you have a safe OTK because you're also going to be able to summon Evolved Deneen as well. Or if you go second, Conductor is also great for wiping. The Conductor is a go-to Dino boss monster. In fact, I played against Teller, lost the die roll, and I went second, and I 2-0'd Teller by breaking their board by just going Misk. Well, first, before that, I would tribute their monster negate, and then go Misk, and then summon Conductor, book their field, and just kill them. And Teller is the deck that a lot of people were telling you should be afraid of in this format. Which I mean, it's very they do put up a crazy board, but Dino is really, the fact that we can even break that board is a testament to how powerful of a card Misk is and how powerful of a card just the Dinosaur engine is. And there's 2 ways you break boards. You could do so with Misk and Conductor, or Misk plus Stego can break almost any board. You go Misk first before anything else, or let's say before anything else, you probably want to Kaiju whatever monster negate your opponent has. But then you're going to Misk, and then all of the opponent's on-field interruption is basically useless. So in a way, Misk is also an insane non-engine. And then you could also search it through Small World. So then you're going to go ahead and normal summon Stego and activate the effect of Stego, and then you're going to, go full combo. But instead of making a Stero like you normally would, you're going to hard make a Meteor, which means you don't go. Normally the combo has you go into Hornbrute Carnivorous. You're going to skip this step because if you go into Hornbrute, you cannot go into Meteor. So you're going to hard make Jurrac Meteor and blow up the field. Remember, Jurrac Meteor is unaffected by card effects because of Misk. So it's going to be an unaffected board wipe. It is insane. So Misk with Stego and Misk with Conductor are your main ways to break boards. You also have Kaijus and Pankratops and Book of Eclipse to help as well. Also, one thing about the GMX engine is very effective into playing into Shifter because you have Alos, you have Velox, you have a lot of ways to just set up a Dolka and a Velox under Shifter, as well as Jurrac with Impact. So yeah, the GMX engine just helps us play under Shifter a lot. In fact, I've won games where I've been Shiftered, and normally, if you're familiar with Dinos at all, you understand how much of a death sentence cards like Shifter, Lancia, and Crow used to be for the deck. But the GMX engine really helps us skirt those cards because the GMX engine lets us special from Banished, so we can just bring back, if you Crow our Misk, we can just bring it back. If you Lancia us, the GMX stuff also summons from Graveyard, so we can kind of extend that way. And we don't even need to necessarily resolve Misk's Banish effect to go off because of the GMX engine has a lot of gas. And then, so for non-engine, we have Kaijus. We're on Thunder King, Godarla, and the Dogaran I just showed you, and then we're on 1 Slumber. So we have 3 Kaijus, 1 Slumber. I'm pretty happy with this. with this ratio of kaijus. And I'm picking these kaijus specifically because of Small World. They basically, these kaijus in our deck list let us, if we brick and go, or not brick, but if we go first, and we see these kaijus in our hand along with the Small World, we're able to bridge our Small World, bridge these guys into like a Misk or Stego, right? Well, not necessarily Stego, because the bridges is going to be, for this, Fualos, because this is a wind, this is going to go into Fualos, and then Fualos can get us any level 4 dinosaur, so this can get us Stego or Misk. But this one can only get us Oviraptor or Misk, right? Because we're going to bridge into Chimrich. But also, if we really need to see Stego, we can bridge into by using Conductor as a bridge, because it's a light. This is level 9. So this bridges into Conductor, and then Conductor and Pank are also incredible bridges. They bridge into like from any dinosaur into any dinosaur, because that's what these guys are really good for. And then also a valuable reason we have Conductor, and I forgot to mention why we have Titano, is because when we go Stego, if we already have access to Misk, or if we get Fualos, instead of sending Misk and doing the regular combo, you can actually send Conductor to Grave and then summon Conductor's level 10, and then you can summon Titano, which is level 9. Remember, Stego ignores summoning conditions, and then you can summon itself and a 10 and a 1, and then go into a Astero that way. That's exactly why I played these guys. You're not always doing that, but it's an option. And it's an important option to have, especially when your zones are occupied and you go into like Dolka and stuff first, then you want to do Stego last, right? Because it locks you. So if your zones are occupied with like the GMX stuff or Dolka, you can do Stego last. But sometimes Stego's your starter, so Titano doesn't come up super often, so if you want to cut bricks, I totally understand cutting it, but it came up enough for me to warrant to continue playing it. In fact, before this event, I was considering cutting it, and I tested without it, and I was like, oh no, my boy Titano has to stay in, so I kept him in. Anyway, so for non-engine, we got the Kaijus, we got Slumber, we got Small World, which I do consider a form of non-engine, as well as a consistency piece, because it can let us see our starters, but also going second when we're breaking boards, we can convert cards in our hand into Misk. So Misk is very searchable in our deck, and it helps us break boards. And I absolutely consider Misk a form of non-engine, because it helps us break boards and basically says, hey, any sort of on-field interruption the opponent has, we don't have to worry about. So, and then I could just dismantle the board through Meteor or Conductor that way. And then we're also on 3 Fualos. So my point spread was 3 Fualos, Book of Eclipse, Pank, Misk, 67, 5, 4, 8, 8, 8. This is my point spread. If I remember correctly, this checks out to exactly 100. I was considering, this is like non-negotiable right here. Pank is too good of a Small World bridge. You don't always want to use Conductor, although I guess you could do double Conductor instead of Pank, and then have like that 5 extra points. That's totally reasonable. But Fua is insane. Fua just helps you break boards. Now, I was considering taking Book of Eclipse and cutting it and playing either Cosmic or DD Crow. Cosmic was way more, I feel like Cosmic is way better, especially with Blitz all over the place, Angelici. I feel like there's a lot more practical applications with Cosmic over Crow. But going into this format, before people realized Blitz was the best deck, the boogeyman of the format was Teller. Everyone was spooked of that deck, especially because they can, not just Teller, but all the FTKs. the Hero FTK with Cosmo Neos and the Earth Machine FTK. So DD Crow can stop, not always, but it can stop the Teller FTK, and it can stop the Earth Machine FTK. But I just figured with, that the format is so wide, despite the fact that top 8 was predominantly Blitz, most of the matches, I want to say like of all the matches I played today in the main event, in side events, Blitz was a small fraction of it. As well as like Teller, like the format is so wide, everyone's on something different. So I feel like instead I just wanted to focus on things that are generally good against everything as my non-engine, and then sort of deal with those things as I come across them, right? For example, against Blitz, I just side the Fuas out. But yeah, this is my non-engine. Felt pretty happy with it. We're gonna go on to our extra deck. 3 Astero, 3 Meteor. I love my Meteors. I have 1 dual terminal, 1 Starlight, and 1 QCR. And I like the alt art, but I also like the OG art, so I like that I have multiple copies, that way I don't have to pick between them. But yeah, Astero's great. Astero, none of the effects are once per turn, and every time someone plays against this deck for the first time, they're like, wait, what? This isn't once per turn? I'm like, yeah, dude, I have 4 nukes. Because remember, I have the trap. So you're gonna have access to 4 nukes on the opponent's turn when you do the full combo. And remember, if you want details on how that combo works, check out my most recent video, or my last video with Sorcerer of the Swamp in the thumbnail. And then we have Jurrac Velfito and Hornbrute Carnivorous. This is important for bridging into Astero, for climbing into it. And then Hornbrute is important for the combo, because you're gonna revive this and make your 3rd Astero. And then we're gonna go ahead and we have 2 Dulka. I used to be on 1 Dulka, 1 Logia, so we can have versatility into breaking boards where you can make one that negates a spell and trap. Or also sometimes you want to end on a Logia, right? So you can have a spell and trap negate, especially against like fusion and ritual decks, because my deck has a incredible matchup against Synchro and Xyz decks anyway, especially when we go first, because with Astero, we can negate inherent summons, and then also in order to Synchro and Xyz summon, you have to commit to the board, right? So obviously the nukes just hurt Synchro and Xyz decks way more, but with fusions and rituals, they're actually able to ritual and fusion because they use the materials from the hand. So our deck has a little bit of a harder time stopping ritual and fusion decks, and you actually have to like think a bit harder on how to interrupt them with your nukes. That's why I used to be on 1 Logia, so you can negate a ritual or fusion spell. But the problem is, in actuality, your Logia is always just going to trade 1 for 1 with some form of breaker. So Dulka would do the same thing. If you end on a Dulka, it's going to trade with a breaker anyway. So I'd rather have 2 Dulkas, 1 for the end board and 1 for the grind, because you want to insulate your OTKs, because a lot of decks have some sort of way to summon something to stop you from killing them, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to like let them, prevent the. You don't want to like go too much into a grind game. You just want to kill them. So that's why it's good to have 2 Dulka, 1 for the grind, 1 for the end board. And then those are my Xyz monsters. And then for the fusion package, we're on GMX Alos, GMX Velox. Alos is all engine. Velox is an extra layer to your end board. And sometimes you summon it when you get shifted. And then we're on Evolve Deneen, which helps you search the quick play spell so you can set it on the opponent's turn to have Velox as that extra interruption. And then we're on GMX Comprex. This is for OTKing. And then lastly, our last fusion is going to be Hornsaurus, and this is for the Sorcerer of the Swamp package, which I go into more detail on my Sorcerer of the Swamp video. For side deck, basically when I go first, I just side in a bunch of engine, so I just side in a bunch more engine. So I side in Volcano as more starters, and GMX Partner Salandia as another extender. So just so, you're not like bricking on, it just improves consistency. You're like it improves consistency, and also you have more gas to push through hand traps, right? And then we're also on 3 Minadium Reframing. This used to be Gravity Collapse. And everyone, Gravity Collapse is a toxic card because it is a turn skip, and I'm not defending it. But what I am going to say is, in practice, Gravity Collapse is kind of bad because not a lot of decks just, do their first normal summon. I'd rather insulate and protect my board by setting this and just stop problematic things. So Minadium Reframing was actually performing incredibly well. I like it a lot. It's just an Omni Negate, basically. It's just a Solemn Judgment. You don't have to pay life points. It's so good. But you just need a Synchro on field. So, and you're usually ending on like 2 Asteros. So even if they like Kaiju 1, your Minadium Reframing is still going to be live. So it's pretty good. Then we're going to be on, for board breaking, we're going to be on 1 extra Kaiju, 1 Slumber I side in for when I'm going second. And then 2 Trunade for like Labyrinth decks and stuff like that, things that just set a lot. Clown Crew, for example, or just anything that like sets a lot of back row. And then Xyz Encore for breaking Xyz boards, especially Teller. And then MST. Just as like a flexible, this would have been Cosmic Cyclone, but I didn't have the points for it. And to be honest, Book of Eclipse was a very good card in general. Like I got Ghost Mortared and I was able to chain Book of Eclipse to set my Hornsaurus and set my field spell and continue playing. So Book of Eclipse is just very flexible. It's a very good card and it's absolutely worth the 4 points. And MST, since I'm trying to kill anyway, the benefit between MST and Cosmic is like Cosmic can help you in a grind game by banishing like Blitzclick spells and traps. But if you're going against Blitzclicks, you want to OTK them. So it doesn't matter if you're just MSTing it. Yeah, that's my side deck.
Any final thoughts? Any final shout outs?
Oh yeah, shout out to the Dino Duelist Discord. Shout outs to the Genesys Discord. Shout outs to everyone who I'm always asking like questions about like, oh, what's good against this, what's good against this, because I was like trying to like figure out my point spread and try to like figure out all these matchups. So thanks to everyone who's helping me. Yeah, it's awesome. Got this Logia. It's gonna go look so sick in my room, man.
All right.
And also, wait, one more. Shout out to Stevie Blunder for filming this filming this deck. Oh, did you end it?
That's me.
Yeah. Shout out to Stevie Blunder for filming this for me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Congratulations! Yoo-hoo!
Thank you guys. Peace.